I am so sorry, people. I hit go live, and apparently it did not go live. Oh, that's horrible. Absolutely horrible. In fact, it still says it's waiting, even though it says I'm live. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Oh, man, that was so horrible. That explains why nobody was saying anything. Well, unfortunately, that does mean I have to go back through this. Hi, Zolon's Alter here. Just like to remind you all that this is not a child-safe channel. Language will not be watched, and some topics may not be child-safe. So if you are a parent, we advise parental guidance, and if you are a child, go get your parent. Hi, welcome to Zolon's Shop of Wonders, take 2. Apparently, I forgot to hit that go live button fully. This is the weekly madness, as mentioned in previous weeks. That means anything can happen, like me accidentally hitting the wrong button. Anyways, so we're back. What we have here is, we're going through again. We have Diane and Cory. The main focus is the hot sauces. And so I guess we can start all over. I do apologize.
That's fine.
Hi, Kit. Okay, so, well, back to this. Wrong window. See, now I'm clicking the really wrong windows. So what we have here is some of Cory's hot sauce. So we can kind of start off. So you mentioned that you pasteurize it. I'm assuming that this is part of the jarring process here that you're doing.
Yeah, that's actually the last part before I put the shrink wrap on the top. So that's boiling it once the hot sauce is like the hot sauce temperature wise is in the bottle. Then I have to boil it again before shrink wrapping it.
Okay. And so, and this is some of the sauce as it's already been done, ready to go. Him showing it off, of course.
Right.
These are some of the ingredients. And I see here I know you already went through it once, and I do apologize, but let's go through it again. So what exactly is the process that you go through?
So the process, it's about 2.5 hours to make the actual sauce. There's a lot of, I have to cut up all the nectarines and fruit. I have to roast the tomatillos and the garlic and the onions. I do a lot of roasted and fresh ingredients. So if I do 2 bulbs of roasted garlic, I might also do 2 bulbs of fresh garlic, like full bulbs. So I do that with peppers too. I'll roast a lot of the peppers in the cast iron and then add fresh peppers in the end. I always keep a bottle of the first batch of sauce around just to taste test as I go, so that I know I'm getting the same flavor profile, because as it is right now, each batch I'm making is bigger and bigger. So I'm really eyeballing a lot of the measurements, And it takes about 2.5 hours. The bottling process takes almost double that. The first time I did it, it was an all-day thing. It was from early in the daytime till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I've kind of cut it in half now, but yeah, it's a lot of fun actually. I just listen to podcasts and make sauce.
So one of the sauces, the primary one actually, is, let me pull up the Frankenender camera, and that is the Buck Dancer's Porch Sauce.
Yep.
And you were explaining how you came up with that name and how you came up with the label.
Yeah. So actually, there's something I missed in there too. So it's good we have to do this again. The name Buck Dancer is a reference to Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's the name that Larry David gives when he, I don't know,
goes. He doesn't want to be known.
He goes undercover. And I just thought it was a great name. It was ridiculous. We have a little lawn gnome out in front of her apartment, where she's growing all of the vegetables. And we named the lawn gnome Buck Dancer, so that's why I put a little gnome on the cover. But that's why it has a name, and that one has the label because we made it for a local winery. They wanted 30 bottles to give away for not give away, but to use as incentive gifts for their subscription box.
So, they also bought a bunch of my jewelry too, yeah. So we kind of did some trading with them.
Oh, and that's actually a nice little segue here. So let me pull these back up real quick. And so you mentioned the jewelry, and I see here, let me bounce past, because there are a couple sauces. He is doing a few different ones, but so
Yep.
we see here, so you've been doing some what looks to be resin jewelry, correct?
Yeah, so I like to use resin. I started in, I would say, mid-December. And so I just had some time on my hands, and I guess I just channeled that into a creative, I guess, inspiration. And I did my first flea market right before lockdown, and that was a punk rock flea market. I tried to use like a lot of natural elements and kind of my teenage goth inspiration from back in the day. So I have a lot of fun with it, though. I really just enjoy kind of trying a new technique. I'll think of something I want to do, and I'll see how it works out.
Okay. And I would like to, again, since in the description is links to not only their YouTube channel where they'll be posting some videos about what they do and everything else, but you'll also find a link to their Etsy store where you can buy not only this jewelry that Diane's making, but the hot sauces that Cory is making. And one of the other hot sauces that he still has to get the label out for is this green one. And I know
Right.
I earlier in the stream, I kept coming back to this one, and there's a reason why. I had my wife try both. And the first one, the red one, she said it was spicy, but not obscenely spicy, but there are layers of flavors. I could see eating this on everything from eggs to cottage cheese, steak, or a burger. Now, I need to mention also, my wife is not one for adding sauces to things that have already been prepared. So that is a very high praise.
That's awesome.
But this one, so she says this one is less spicy, but really flavorful. I'm going to dig the tamales out of my freezer so I can eat them with this on my cheat day. And that right there, that's amazing. So
great.
you said, and you did say you have a name for this one.
Yeah, it's the loaded lychee Verde.
And how did that name come about?
Well, so I wanted to do something. The first hot sauce that I made, the Porch Sauce, I really just put all my favorite things together because nectarines are my favorite fruit. The second one, when I said I wanted to make a Verde, Verde sauces usually have like kind of the same ingredients in them. It's tomatillos and lime juice and cilantro and jalapenos or serranos. I want all my sauces to have some kind of fruit element, some kind of natural sweetness. So we were trying to figure out something that I could put in it, but it would still keep its green, its green color. So I said, I need something that's either white or yellow or green. And Diana suggested lychee. And there's a great Korean supermarket that we just started going to, a huge supermarket here. And they have it there. I'm not positive on if it's something I can get year round. But lychee, it kind of tastes like a dumbed down green grape. It's a little less sweet.
Yep.
But it does add a little bit of sweetness, and this sauce also has green habaneros in it, which I found, or we found at the farmer's market kind of by chance. Like I wasn't going to put habaneros in this, but we found green ones, and I wanted to just put lots of green stuff in this. And so that's why it's the loaded lychee Verde, because it has like 6 different types of peppers in it.
Okay, that explains a bit. So I have a few people here, a couple of them that said that they want me to try it on stream, and I will eventually, but I need to warn everybody. My opinion of these is not going to be anything to weigh on how good these are, because unfortunately they do have an ingredient that I have an actual documented genetic disposition against, and that is cilantro.
I will say, cilantro is a really strong flavor, and like I was saying before this, before we went live, I 100% was one of those people until I was probably in my late 20s. Cilantro tasted like soap to me, like straight up, like perfume. Like I could not eat it. At one of my first jobs at a fast food job, I used to have to cut it, and I would hold my breath while I was cutting it. I hated it so much. At some point in time, I don't know when, but some point in time over the last 10 years, I started to love it. I still get it's a strong flavor, but I'm not sure that I taste it that
The
much in the porch sauce. I'm not sure, but the other one probably.
So see, and for me, everybody, so most people know what lavender smells like.
Yeah.
And most people know what underarm deodorant smells like. Imagine tasting those two blended. That's what cilantro tastes like to me. So, and as mentioned again before stream, even though I'm a heavy beer drinker and I brew my own and everything else, I don't like heavy hop either because it does the same thing to me.
Yeah.
So, and I even grow my own hops. So,
yeah.
So I never did get to the point of saying it when we thought we were live. Have you thought about using beer as one of the bases?
I have. That was something we both have talked about is using beer. And actually, I'm going to be making a ScotchBonnet sauce next. I'm actually going to be using ScotchBonnet powder, which I have on order right now. And I want to make a yellow sauce. I don't know if that's important to anybody else, but I do kind of like, to each of them to not be brown, to have their own color. So I'm trying to make like a yellow ScotchBonnet sauce, and I'm thinking about trying to put scotch in it. So
ScotchBonnet.
Yeah, I thought that'd be great. So it'd be ScotchBonnet.
So they don't sponsor me, but I have to say if you're going to do that, I highly suggest Lagavulin.
Okay.
They are my favorite scotch.
Well, I definitely, it's going to be, I don't know yet if it's going to be one that I'm going to keep making. I don't even know that about the Verde sauce yet, but I do know I don't want to put a real cheap scotch in there. If I do it, I want to actually.
That is not a cheap scotch.
Yeah. Also, right now, I don't know if I could use somebody else's product in making it, so that's a whole nother side to this that I'm gonna have to learn about. Luckily, there's a lot of local beer brewers here, so I think beer would be easier for me to obtain, to get somebody's permission or to work with somebody. Once we start making more bottles, I think beer is a good option, and it's something I want to do.
Well, we've also talked about using kombucha because that's one of the other activities I've done in quarantine is starting to do kombucha. So we've talked about a kombucha-based sauce or something like that.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. I'm not sure if I'd like it or not. I'd try it. Yeah, the reason why I brought up beer is, and I'm kind of giving away one of my things, is there was a time when I first got into home brewing, and I was also making hot sauces already. I thought about starting a company called Brew and Burn.
Right.
And my flagship home brew that I do is a cinnamon chocolate milk stout that is a 12% high gravity stout.
Yeah.
And the cocoa nibs I soak in vanilla vodka for 2 days before it goes in. And I condensed some of that and used that to make a hot sauce.
Oh,
and it was amazing.
I bet.
So, unfortunately, I don't have the drive to do this at the level that you already are at. So I'm okay giving that idea away.
We were just talking last night about doing like a cinnamon and coffee kind of situation in the winter. So that's pretty cool.
So we do have a question from 3D Printing and Painting, Jerry, who actually had a stream before this one. I highly suggest people go check his channel out. And that is, he's wondering, where are you two located?
We're in Sacramento. So Sacramento, California, the city of trees. So where all the fires are right now, except they're all around us.
Yeah, we're in the one place where there's no fire.
So
it sure looks like it outside.
Mm-hmm.
So just let others know, if their screen suddenly goes dark, it's either because their phone died, because that's what they're using for their camera, or the other phone died that they're using for their light, or their power went out.
Yeah.
Because we have the rolling blackouts too.
Got the rolling-
But SMUD's been pretty good about that. That's the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, and they've been pretty good. So that's one of the unique things about Sacramento is we have SMUD for a utility system, and they've been doing a great job of making sure we have power.
Yeah, I've noticed this year the media coverage of the wildfires has been rather lacking, and nationally that is, and they are much worse than what many know.
Well, yeah, I was just checking that out today on CNN. I was like, wow, there's no California wildfires on there, but we've got like 30 in the state right now because of some lightning storms we've had the past couple of nights. That, I mean, Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, the county there, Calaveras, Stanislaus. Let me see, just they're everywhere right now, and we're lucky that we're in Sacramento, more centrally located in an urban area, so we're at less risk. But
take care, Jesters. So Dr. Jekyll is apparently in the West Sonoma County himself.
Oh. Yeah, that's really rough right now.
And Chris Travis, whose comment just came up, here we are. StreamYard's a little behind. He says he grew up in the San Joaquin Valley of New Fresno. And I'm surprised I'm actually pronouncing that.
Yes, Joaquin Valley was where I moved when I first moved here from Los Angeles. So I'm very familiar with that area.
So something that you mentioned earlier, Cory, your day job is actually as a cook, correct?
Yep.
And
right now I'm not doing anything except making sauce, but yeah.
Right. So your day job normally is as a cook, and you're a school teacher, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I am a school teacher. I'm doing online. I had kind of I guess I kind of call it my Forrest Gump year because I feel like everything's actually been kind of working out for me. Knock on wood again. Because I transferred to an all online school in February before everything happened. So I'd already made a transition, and I was super, super lucky to have done that because they have everything already set up. And I don't have to worry about going in. We only go in once a week, maybe twice a week max, but I haven't had to go in. And I have a super understanding boss. So everything's really worked out in my favor, which is shocking. And I feel like I just kind of stumbled into tremendous fortune in that regard.
Yeah, we actually, they're not here tonight yet. They might be a little later. One of my new maker friends, she actually teaches robotics for STEM classes for elementary and junior high, or maybe some high school. I don't know what levels. And I know she's getting ready for some major competitions because they actually do robot competitions, and that's what she's teaching them to do. And then we have that's Devin. Then we have DB 3D Dan. And he actually works at a school in the IT department. And I know he's been busy setting up hundreds of Chromebooks to go out to students for possible remote work and everything else as well. And now we've got everybody in the channel talking, or they're talking about the fires and stuff. Yeah, and Kit brings up a very good point. It isn't just the wildfires that are not being covered. We're looking at the storm damage from Dretcha, or we're looking at the hurricanes that are currently spinning up. There's 12 of them right now, I believe. Yeah, I don't understand it, but they're really focused on our political issues, which we'll not talk about.
And fire tornadoes. Apparently.
Oh yeah, fire tornado. We got a fire tornado warning.
That one actually did make the national headlines.
I didn't know that was a real thing.
No, neither did I. I was like, wait, fire tornado warning on my phone. What's that? He said it's a joke. He said it's a joke. He was like, oh, is that a fire tornado? And yeah, it was.
Yeah, I've seen here in Oklahoma, because that's where I'm currently located, when we have our major grass fires sweeping through, every now and then we will get dust devils, 20, 30 foot tall fire tornadoes, basically, but they don't classify as a tornado yet. And where that one did.
Yeah. It looked pretty scary.
It did. It did.
Yeah, and yeah, Chris. So Llama is in the Carolinas somewhere, and he lost power for almost a week. I have friends all through Iowa and Illinois who had no power until just yesterday.
Wow. That's, I don't know what the temperature's like there, but I know in Sacramento it is awful and it would be unbearable without any kind of power or air conditioning or anything.
So Jerry is actually located in Vegas, and he keeps thinking it's going to start raining, but he thinks it's actually the smoke coming from your area.
Yeah, that's what I believe it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You walk outside and there's ash falling. I got in my car last night when I left Diana's apartment, and I thought when I turned the lights on, I saw all these things flying around. I thought they were just, heat bugs or something like that flying around me. And I got in my van so quick, and then when I got out of it at my house, they were swarming me again. And then halfway through the night, I'm reading that there's ash falling. I'm like, oh man, there was literally just ash. That's all it was. There's ash all over.
Yes, you're right, Dr. Jekyll. Llama is in Connecticut. Apparently, John Mack's AC died, and considering what he does for a job, that's gotta suck. Which reminds me, if you guys need for your businesses or whatever else, T-shirts with embroidery, anything, that's what John Mack does.
Nice.
And his work is really good.
I wonder if he makes beer koozies.
If he doesn't, I do. But all my equipment's in a shop right now outside. That's a 10 by 10 shed that I turned into a shop. And it is packed to the gills because we're getting ready to do some shipping around in the house. Oh, John Mack is who's in Carolina, not Llama. And yes, apparently John Mack does make beer koozies for fun.
That's awesome.
So let's see. We talked about some of the hot sauces a little bit, and just in case I didn't say it before, there is a link to an Etsy store down there in the description, people. Go ahead and hit it. Yes, I know you don't drink, John, and that's all good. I have to, or I wouldn't be as sane as I am. So, and I also put a link to your YouTube channel down in the description, and as well as the code for the Etsy shop. I kept forgetting to mention this. So there is a 10% off code for anybody who wants to buy the jewelry and or hot sauces. And one thing that have not talked about yet, now that we're actually live, is Cory is also in a band.
Yeah, I play in I've played in several bands, but yeah, but the most active band that I play in right now is Peace Killers, and we've been together since about 2012, I believe.
Okay, and I unfortunately did not get that into the description. I will add it after the video. But what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to dump that. Oh, dogs are going after something. I will dump that in the chat for anybody who wants to go check it out.
Awesome.
So, like myself, then, we've got a couple makers here who make all kinds of things. Must be a lot of ADD in that house. Hey, non-fam. Good to see you here. So, we have hit the point of the show to where... is there anything else you'd like to discuss, or should we invite some others?
Oh, we can invite people. You do whatever you want. I'm having fun.
Oh, I will say on our YouTube channel, so mainly on our YouTube channel, we do hot sauce reviews, and also Cory reviews my Ipsy bag every month when it comes before I even open it. So we're actually going to do a video on that, post it tomorrow. So right after we get off of here, he's going to go ahead and open up my Ipsy bag, and we're going to post that on our YouTube channel tomorrow. He does a pretty good job of trying to figure out what everything is and
putting on makeup.
Yeah, the last one, my favorite part of the last one was when I said, do you know how to use that? And he said, I play in bands.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I know that well. Um, and you know what? As Eddie Izzard says, this isn't a woman's dress; it's my dress.
Yeah.
So, if anybody wants to join, we are now at an open forum scenario to where we can talk about anything. We can go back to talking about 3D printing, electronics, drones, cooking, music. It is wide open. Oh, apparently I left the top off my soldering station's little wicking thing. There was something else, and now I'm, of course, lost it because I didn't make notes like I should. Okay, so John Mack is not going to be joining us, or at least I won't let him in if things are not covered.
Right.
Apparently, he's naked in bed right now. Wow. We went through everything pretty quick there.
We did. You know, a lot of our stuff has come about because of the pandemic. So we just keep on trying to find little things to keep us interested and engaged, and you know, doing a lot of hobbies, kombucha and hot sauce and ginger making and bike rides. And I'm actually trying to buy a house right now. So I feel kind of crazy for doing that right now in the pandemic. But you know,
hey, if you've got stable work, I would highly suggest it right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, his AC's out. That's why he's in bed that way. Okay.
I would be too.
Hey, Dan. So we actually mentioned Dan a bit ago. He's the one who was setting up all those hundreds of Chromebooks.
Oh,
so,
man.
and he's also one who's famous for joining in. And he sometimes has some good questions. So we'll put the link out there again and go, hey, Dan, come on, join us. Come on. That is if his wife's willing to let him. He got yelled at not long ago. So, Greg Maker's Corner. What are your what are some of your other favorite hot sauces?
Oh man. So we for our YouTube channel, we've been doing hot sauce tasting. We'll taste one of mine if I have something special that I saved, and we'll do like 6 or 7 other sauces. So we've been just kind of rolling the dice and trying them. And last time we ordered a batch of hot sauce, actually 2 times ago, Diana had picked out this grapefruit hot sauce made by Marie Sharp. I think it's a product of Belize, and it's one of the best hot sauces I've ever had. And it's a habanero grapefruit hot sauce, and it's cheap. To order it online, I think it's like $4.99 a bottle. And I mean, for hot sauce, for like, you know, smaller hot sauce companies or whatever, you know, you can pay up to like I've paid $16 for a bottle of hot sauce, you know. So that was a great one.
I really like from Butterfly. I think I'm not exactly sure where they're at. I want to say it's somewhere on the East Coast, like Vermont or Connecticut or New York. But Butterfly Bakery, we have a smoked onion one that we really love. Yep. We also watch Hot Ones a lot, and so we try to get some of their hot sauces. So we tried Shaquanda's, and that was the review was that it tasted like a Big Mac kind of or it smells like a Big Mac.
Yeah, it tastes like McDonald's.
And it does, 100%.
Yeah, that's actually the hot sauce I spent $16 on, and it tastes like a McDonald's Big Mac. It was pretty crazy. Yeah. I've got a couple other ones. My longtime favorite hot sauce, probably my most favorite hot sauce, is Secret Aardvark from I think it's made in Oregon, and that's a habanero and I think carrot based hot sauce, and that one's great. Diana got me a gift. I think it was Sauce Bay.
Yeah, Sauce Bay.
Sauce Bay, which is another habanero and turmeric based hot sauce. So it's kind of almost like slightly Indian tasting. And that's another one of my favorites. And it's really cheap on Amazon. And yeah, Sauce Bay is great. Those are my favorites right now.
We've really been exploring Etsy too.
Yep.
So we've been looking into hot sauce makers on Etsy, and we found one that really specializes. Each of their hot sauces is focused on a certain kind of pepper. They have other peppers, but it's called Addicted Sauces, or yeah, it's Addicted Sauces. Right?
Addicted Sauce Co.
Oh, Addicted Sauce Co. And so we ordered. They have these really small, like 1.7 ounce bottles, and they'll sell them in a 3-pack for $6. So we ordered like 9, and they sent us 12.
Yeah, so we reviewed the first half of them on our last YouTube video, and then we're gonna do the second half. But every single one of them was good, which I don't think, and they're all from one company, and I don't think that's happened to us once. There's always been a few where we're just like, no.
Yep.
But
and I know what you mean by the cost of some of them out there, because I know one of the ones that I had to have the bottle just for the name. And again, I'll repeat, people, this is not a child-safe channel. The name of the hot sauce is One Motherfucking Drop.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I paid probably close to $28 for the bottle.
Yep.
And my absolute favorite, though, unfortunately, you can no longer get, because the maker, Gene, died, Dixie's Barbecue in Bellevue, Washington. He made something called the Man Sauce, which was a sweetened, condensed habanero sauce that you literally take a toothpick, run it through the sauce, and then wipe that over your pulled pork sandwich, and that's all you need.
Wow.
Anymore, you cannot eat it, but it had so much flavor.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If you can get flavor into something that's that hot too, because I do want to do a super hot sauce. It's just it takes a lot of peppers, or like in this next sauce I'm making, I got powder. That's what I'm gonna try for, because I want to try and get I want to try and make something that's really, really hot. And a lot of them are just novelty sauces, the really hot ones, you know, but I'd like to have some flavor too.
So we did have a question a little earlier from Dan. What is one of the more unique ingredients you guys have put in your sauce, if you can tell?
There's two. I mean, the porch sauce, the fruit that's in it is nectarine, and I don't think I had seen a hot sauce with nectarines in it, and I put them in. Yeah, I put them in peeled raw. Have you?
Yeah, I've got a whole cupboard full of hot sauces, and I know one of them is a nectarine, but it's not habanero. It is serranos.
Okay, mine actually does have serranos in it. That was one thing on the label. I just put peppers because, like I said, I didn't want to
give it
fill
away.
up the label and not be able to read it. But it's habanero. I think it has mostly habaneros, but it also has serranos and jalapenos in it. The other thing that we used in the porch sauce was red wine vinegar. I know a lot of people use vinegar in hot sauce. I like to use the red wine vinegar, and I like the way that came out. And I think in the next sauce we're going to use white wine vinegar. I want to try. I'd like to try using like mirin, I'd like to make an Asian sauce with something like that, or rice wine vinegar too. So.
Well, and then also you use the dried guajillos.
We did use dried guajillos in the porch sauce, and that's the whole reason that gave it its color.
I don't even think I know what that is.
So guajillos, I think they're mostly from I think they're a West Coast, mostly on the West Coast, maybe. I don't know.
25 years on the West Coast.
They're so heat level. They're not that hot. I think I actually was looking on the Scoville scale the other night, and on the Scoville scale, they're right around what a jalapeno is.
Okay.
But
a jalapeno can vary as well.
It can. I've had jalapenos that just completely wrecked me, and I've had some, you know, that weren't hot at all. But we got dried guajillos, and the nice thing about them is I do steep them in the red wine vinegar first, so they have kind of a reddish color, and then with the red wine vinegar, you know, I'll toast them and basically reconstitute them in the vinegar, and it gives a really good a really good color.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the
so
camera doesn't quite pick it up. There is a lot of orange that you do see on my camera, but there is also it's actually a deeper orange than what it shows.
So it's weird that the sauce it's such a light sauce until I put the guajillos mixed with the vinegar in, and then it kind of gets that orangish red color. And they're just I don't know how hot they really are, but they have a real unique flavor, and it's kind of sweet and kind of tart. At least the dried one. We haven't used fresh, but they're dried.
Well,
So
and Cory recently accused of using tomato in that sauce.
Yes.
And he had to defend it because it was red. They were like, "You use tomato, blah blah blah," and he was like, "No, actually, I use dried guajillo. There's only tomatillos, no tomatoes in the sauce." I don't know why, but people wanted to be a stickler about it. But he was able to come back from it with no tomato.
My zombie Q has tomato in it, I'll be honest.
Well, there's nothing wrong with putting tomatoes in a sauce, especially if you're doing roasting them.
But my zombie Q is more of a barbecue sauce than it is a hot sauce.
Yeah. Well, then you got to have tomatoes in it. But I just thought it was odd that somebody online was like attacking me for putting tomatoes in my hot sauce. I'm like, there's a lot of hot sauce that has tomatoes in it. I haven't done one yet. I really like tomatillos. I may use both sauces that I have so far have tomatillos in them, and I like the flavor of them. I like roasting them, and they might just be a kind of regular theme throughout my hot sauces, unless I decide to do a tomato hot sauce. But I love tomatillos. They kind of, they have that little kind of tart flavor. They're not really sweet, and when you roast them, they smell the way they look. They smell green. They smell, almost like lime. Like, I love them.
And you have used tomatoes though before, because last year he didn't make hot sauce, but he won second place in a salsa contest, and he did roast tomatoes for that.
I did for that.
But that was salsa, not hot sauce.
Yeah, but I would argue that my salsa, when I make salsa, it's not that much of a thicker consistency than my hot sauce. Like, I like a blended salsa, like a roasted blended salsa.
So Greg's Maker Corner asked, is there a monthly box of hot sauce where you get different ones each month? And I actually know the answer to that. There's quite a few different ones.
Yeah, there are.
But is there one that you would suggest?
For a long time, the place where I work, we used to actually, the cafe that I work at actually ordered a box so that just people who came in could try something new every month, and we had the Fuego box. I'm not sure of the exact website you get that from, but it's called the Fuego box, and I found out about a lot of great hot sauces from that box, and I know Hot Ones has too. On heatness.com they have one.
And then the hot sauce website you've been using, he likes to also put hot sauce in his beer. He likes to put hot lime sauce in his beer.
Yeah, that's something I can
where have you been ordering that from? Because they have a hot sauce box too.
Yeah,
to each their own.
Yeah, heathotsauce.com. They're pretty great, and they give you have your choice of freebies, and with every order, and also it's flat rate shipping, which is great. And we found that Maurice Sharp's, that Belize hot sauce, we found through them. But yeah, I like to put it, as long as it doesn't have a lot of garlic or something in it, I'll put it in my beer. And I found a hot sauce that's just habaneros, key lime juice, and salt, and that's all that's in it. So it's kind of like a michelada or something like that.
That's what it reminded me of, and I can't stand those. But again,
I drink that stuff all the time.
But the variety of tastes is what makes it so we can all get along, because we don't have to all like the same things.
No.
Actually, he found that hot sauce. We went to a mini hot sauce convention here in Sacramento at Empire Comics, and now they're called Empire Comics and Hot Sauce.
Yeah, we have a comics and hot sauce store.
And,
I have actually been to Empire Comics, but that was before the hot sauce.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah, so we got to try all different kinds of hot sauce there, and he bought from almost every vendor. There was one That just wasn't our taste, but everyone else got our.
Yeah, I think I spent $60 that day on hot sauce, and I think we walked out of there with a lot of hot sauce and steak sauce.
Yeah, steak sauce
So-
for me.
You may have a buyer if you can come up with this one. Dan says he would love to see something that is a combination of kiwis and ScotchBonnet.
Man, we almost did kiwis. When I was making the loaded lychee verde, there was a second where I almost chose kiwis, and that's still on my my list of something I'd like to try. I haven't settled on my recipe for the Scotch bonnet sauce yet. I was going to use Scotch bonnet and pineapple. I thought about doing mango, but I'm learning that there's people that are allergic to everything. But we have a friend who's allergic to mango, and I was like, well, I will maybe I'll do something else. But kiwi might be good. That might be good.
Oh, and if you ever do the mango, please let me know. I love mango habanero based sauces. Always have.
Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic combination too.
I have found with my hot sauce making, when I grabbed my Trinidad scorpion peppers, if I candied the Trinidad scorpion peppers and then added them to a mango habanero sauce, it was really good. But it takes a long time to make.
So how did you candy them? Did you bake them with sugar or syrup on them?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow. First I hit them with the butane torch to char them, and then I threw them in just like I was going to make a jam.
Yeah.
And basically I made cowboy jam to start with, and then I reduced that even further to give it some caramelization, and then that's what I put in the other sauce.
Oh man, that sounds great.
And just so you know, I am not a professional cook. My wife isn't either. She's much better at cooking than I am. My dad used to be, long time ago. But don't eat his food now.
I've been very hampered during this because all of Cory's creative efforts have gone into my tummy, which has been delicious. He is great at coming up with his own recipes based on the best of what he sees.
Yep.
So he's really been experimenting with cooking. It's been fantastic for me. I love it.
Ginger peach habanero.
See, I'm not a big ginger guy. She really likes ginger. Eventually, I'm gonna do
My wife really likes it too.
Yeah, eventually I'm gonna do something more Asian that has ginger in it. There's a lot of food that I like that has ginger in it, but the flavor of ginger, like it's just something. It doesn't sit right with me. There's something about ginger. I don't know.
So something you can try. Get some of that ginger candy and sliver it into the sauce.
Oh yeah.
Because then you'll get the sugar and the caramelization from the candied aspect of it as well.
Right. That's good. I thought about we were trying to get some ginger garlic paste because I made curry not that long ago, and I was trying to find ginger garlic paste because it's in like every Indian food dish.
Yes.
And that I thought about when I got that, maybe I could use that in something. But
and Dan does say sign him up to taste the kiwi one if you ever do it.
Yeah. And I very well may do a kiwi. Like that might be something I'm gonna do.
Wow. What else? You guys got anything else?
I was thinking, Cory and I have very different methods for picking hot sauces. Talking about the hot lime sauce and that website where we order it from made me think of it. So my method is to sort all the products based on how cheap they are, and then I always pick from the lower. But Cory is a little. When I buy for him, I don't do that. When I buy for him, I always think what would be tasty. But when I buy for me, I'm like, what's the cheapest? But Cory, how do you?
I mean, for me, I am not a huge fan of the ultra hot, like the super hot peppers, like ghost peppers. I've had ghost pepper products that are awesome.
Yep.
I think Pocky makes the hot haunted ghost pepper chips, and those are really good. But like I want to be able to.
Keep talking. I'm actually going to run off and grab something real quick while you're talking about that because you just
that's
reminded.
fine. Yeah. I really want to be able to keep eating whatever hot sauce I have. I don't want it to completely destroy me. It's fun every once in a while to try something that is going to be too hot. But I try to pick things that have an interesting combination of fruit to peppers. And that's why I think that's what I've been thinking about when I make my hot sauces. So my favorite pepper is habanero because habaneros, to me, they are a hot pepper. They're not overpowering in something, and they also have a sweet flavor, and they have a really unique flavor. To me, nothing else tastes like them. So I look for habanero-based hot sauces, and then I look for a unique fruit or just some other kind of unique ingredient. What did we try? What was the one we didn't like?
Oh, that was a chipotle, but it was like yellow, and it wasn't even yellow. It was more of like almost white. Was the Frolic? Was it the Frolic one? Was it?
No, the Frolic was good. The Frolic one was one that you got. It was good. This was the little one for something or another, and it looked almost gray.
Oh.
It was like it said it was Chipotle. It had no Chipotle flavor in it whatsoever.
I don't want to bag on it, but it really doesn't have any flavor in it.
It looked gray, and it tasted gray.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's on one of our videos. I think it's one of the last videos. Not the last one. The last one we featured Addicted Sauce Company exclusively, except for the Chipotle sauce that Cory experimented with. So it would be not the July video, no, not the August video, but the July video. We usually drop our hot sauce videos around the first or second Monday of every month. And then actually we're going to do an Ipsy video where Cory reviews my Ipsy bag probably right after this, and then upload it tomorrow to our channel, which is Buck Dancer.
Yeah.
So we'll probably do that. But yeah, we review hot sauces. We've been doing it since May. And we'll go through, we usually do a Facebook Live video and then post it to YouTube the day after.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there actual...
So I seem to have lost what I was looking for because you were talking about the ghost peppers. And years ago, one of my friends bought me a beer. She bought me a beer that was a really nice looking bottle, too. It's called Ghost Face Beer or something like that. It reminded me of Supernatural Ghost Facers. It was a ghost pepper based beer. It smelled like somebody ate a ton of hot sauce and then vomited into a toilet. And it probably tasted worse.
Yeah.
It is the second beer in my life that I have purposely dumped out.
Yeah. I can see adding beer to a hot sauce to give that kind of I don't know, if you eat like beer cheese or something like that, you get the taste of beer even when it's been cooked down. You get that kind of
the barley and the hop taste a little bit to it. You get the caramelization from the beer being reduced. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has like its own kind of tang. Certain beers. Like I'll make beer cheese and I'll put like Pabst in it, even just a cheap beer, and I get that kind of. There's a little bit of beer taste, but I can't imagine making a beer. Like I've had beers that are hot that have peppers in it. That's one thing. But when you try and
purposely make a spicy beer.
Yeah, it kind of goes beyond it. Like you can't add like garlic and stuff like that and cilantro and stuff into a beer.
No, it was horrible. The bottle was pretty.
Yeah,
the bottle.
I put regular hot sauces that have, a lot of garlic and onions and stuff like that in my beer just to see, and it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Well, and haven't you been putting porch sauce into your Bloody Marys?
I do, but Bloody Marys,
Bloody Marys are a different thing.
Yeah, so I do Caesars, like the Canadian version of Bloody Marys. I do with Clamato juice, which I always thought I would hate, but turns out I love. And I'll put my sauce into it. I'll put Secret Aardvark into it. Lots of Worcester and what's it called? Horseradish, stuff like that. And that's awesome, And I could even see. Oh wow! I've seen that.
Yeah, it was only $9. I had to give it I bought the bottle, but I've yet to open it. and I have no clue how long it's been on my shelf now. Best before 04/01/20. So I just passed the best before date.
Yeah, you should still be okay.
Yeah.
It's hot sauce. It's unopened. It's still sealed.
Yeah.
It's so sealed the plastic wrapper can still move and the lid doesn't.
Yeah. That
I couldn't find the one bottle though. The bottle was pretty, but I couldn't find it. So I actually have a challenge for the 3D modelers who follow me, and that is, I think we need a design that somebody can 3D print of a hot sauce bottle holder for Buck Dancer's hot sauce.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be great.
You know, maybe Danny DeVito's head or something. Or am I getting the wrong show? That's Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm getting the wrong show. My apologies.
Yeah,
Well,
Larry David.
I can move the camera if you want to see the leg tattoo. It is pretty serious.
If the others want to see it, I leave that to them.
Right.
Camera has gotten a little quiet.
It is the Larry David leg tattoo.
And if anybody wants to join, there's the link again. Devin, I don't know if you're still here, but if you are, it was mentioned earlier, Diana actually is a school teacher herself. She does online now, but she used to do in person. And you were the crazy cat lady teacher, if I remember correctly.
I am. I had a space cat poster in my classroom, and I had a sub recognize me one day. He was like, "Oh, you're Space Cat?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Space Cat." That's just how I was known, Space Cat. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's always good to have something that people know you for, so they, I guess, get a better understanding of what amuses you.
Yeah.
So Dan says he needs to get a bottle, and then that way he can play around and work on making a carrier.
Yeah, well, if he wants to try and make something like that, I'll send him a bottle. So if he
you hear that, Dan?
Yeah, I'll send him a bottle. Just let me know.
So it has been long enough that okay, let's do it. I went and grabbed myself some Ritz crackers.
Oh, are you gonna try it?
Yes, I am.
Sweet.
So first we'll go, of course. So which one would you suggest I try first?
I would try, maybe try the Verde first. And I think if there's one that's going to taste like cilantro, I would rather have you start with that one and end with the one that's going to taste less like it, so you don't leave that taste in your mouth. I think that the Verdes might have more of that flavor in it.
Oh, actually, I have the cilantro killer here as well.
Okay.
Peppermint Lifesavers. Peppermint Lifesavers.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Actually,
And I don't have flow restrictors on these. That's the little thing that's on most hot sauce that stops it from coming out quickly. I've learned a lot of people don't.
There's
a lot of
too many
people don't
seeds.
like. Yeah, a lot of people don't like those, so I left them off, so it does come out pretty quick.
I actually really like the smell. That is a very good smell. Yep, your AC unit kicked on. Or you're hearing mine.
Oh, I think that's
Oh,
all.
it just kicked on.
Yeah.
Is it really loud?
I'd put that at about a 2 or a 3 on a 10 for me, for the spice. And I have to agree with my wife. That actually is really good. Really good.
You know what's funny is I tried to make that one spicier than the porch sauce, and everybody said, "Nah, it's not." I'm like, "Okay, well."
It's different. Because when my wife first tried it, what she didn't send me in text was the Porch Dancer put the burn on the tip and the back of the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
This is all middle.
Yeah. I think it's the type of habanero and the amount of habanero I used. I think the Buck Dancer, the porch sauce has a lot more
Does
orange
this have the wine
habanero.
vinegar?
Yeah, that has the red wine vinegar in it. The other one just has white vinegar. Yeah, the porch sauce has the red wine vinegar.
Right, and this one doesn't.
No, it just has some regular white white vinegar in it.
Okay, so
But not much.
that might be the difference.
Yeah. And there's not as much vinegar in the green sauce as well as there is in the porch sauce. I really wanted the red wine vinegar in the porch sauce to come through, so I think I used a little bit more vinegar and a little less lime juice.
Vinegar will strip the oils off the person's tongue, which allows the capsaicin to react more.
Ah.
So weird things. I don't know if she's told you, but I'm like an information sink.
That's awesome. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot about peppers as I make this stuff.
So yes, the cilantro is definitely there on this one.
Which one is that?
It's Porch Dancer.
Okay. All right.
But it's not. I could not eat this one straight because of it, but I could put it on other things and still like it. Because the rest of the flavors are there.
All right. And you already tried the green sauce, right? I was trying to.
I really like the green sauce.
So what's funny is the green sauce for the batch that I made, the green sauce has double the cilantro as the porch sauce does. I think it's the
vinegar again.
The vinegar. Something in there is I don't know.
Definitely hotter. At least perception-wise, it is definitely hotter.
Yeah.
So while I'm doing this, what is the highest Scoville rating that you have dealt with?
I don't know that. Let's see. Well, I mean, most of the hot sauces that we try usually have the 1 through 5. You know, like they'll have a little pepper or something, so it's not the actual Scoville rating.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to try. I have yet to try a hot sauce with Reaper in it yet, but I did try a sauce with Pepper X.
Okay, I haven't tried Pepper X yet, but I could dehydrate you some Reapers and send them to you.
Oh, that would be great. I eventually want to do a Reaper sauce. But so Pepper X, you know, apparently is even hotter. I pay a lot of attention now to the chili head community, and there's a lot of people that argue about this kind of stuff. And the guy who originally made the Reapers and makes, you know,
I only got 2 peppers off of my Butch tea.
Wow.
Sad.
We tried. So I'm not sure of the actual Scoville of it, but you know, Hot Ones, they did a remix box where they made their most mild sauce way hotter by putting Pepper X in it. And I think that was one of the hotter sauces I've tried. That was one of those ones where I ate a lot of it because it was the first in the lineup, and I thought, okay, it's not going to be hot. And and man, they really messed with us with that one because that was the hottest one of the whole box. And then we did the last dab, and that version of the last dab they actually dumbed down, and they took the Pepper X out of it. So it was really confusing, and it lasted. That Pepper X sauce lasted a good half an hour. I mean, I was in pain. We did a generic Target hot sauce challenge that Diana had got me.
It's like Christmas time, and they sell like this huge pack. It's like $15, and none of the hot sauces had flavor until the last 2.
Yeah, or heat.
None of them.
They were all. Nothing. There was like 12 hot sauces in this lineup, and nothing was hot or flavorful. Then we get to the second to the last one, and it just like kind of just blew our minds. And that was a ghost pepper one. I've had ghost pepper salt and ghost pepper paste, and I think I've gotten the most pain from eating ghost pepper products.
Yes.
But I don't know the exact Scoville. I know ghost pepper is just above habanero, and I think below scorpion. I think I was actually studying the Scoville heat chart the other night. So I think that's where it's at. I have yet to have scorpion.
According to the regulations, because I am one of those people.
Uh-huh.
Open the image. Here we are. So, wow. Pepper X is 3,180,000. Reaper is 2,200,000.
Wow.
And ooh, Dragon's Breath. I have not heard of that one yet. That's a new one they just added.
I just heard about that one.
It's out of the United Kingdom at 2,480,000.
Is
And
that
just
we listened to a great book on Audible, and it was one of the Audible originals. I can't remember exactly what it was called. We listened to it last year on a road trip, and it was fantastic. It was all about the chili head community. We had such a great time listening to that.
So habaneros are anywhere between, depending on what type of habanero, are anywhere between 250,000 to 577,000 on the rating.
Right.
And in case you didn't see it, Dan says you don't need to send him a bottle because he just ordered one off your Etsy.
Oh,
that's
Dan.
awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I say this quite often, they already know I say this. I am involved in a lot of hobbies. I do music, I do amateur radio, I started a t-shirt shop, I'm big into firearms, I do home brewing. I really didn't find a community though. Every one of those hobbies I was in that I tried to find a group of people to, become part of and understand and learn from, it was too much of a click. 3D printing, these people are the best community I have ever worked with, and they support each other. Yes, we have the every once in a while asshole. Don't get me wrong, and I don't mean asshole like I'm an asshole at times. No, I mean outright vindictive. You always are going to have those, but they're welcoming. You've got. Edutech, see, I almost called this a Hot Makes, but I can't because Edutech actually runs a stream called Hot Makes every Monday at 6 p.m. But all of these people, and I have 2 sheets and I've got more sheets to make, they've just been amazing and very supportive of makers not just in 3D printing.
Right.
So that's why I kept trying to drag out more about the jewelry, because we do have some who do resin. I actually have a resin printer over here.
What?
I have a resin-based. You've never seen a resin-based 3D printer?
No.
So it uses UV wavelength light, normally at about 450 nanometer, and it's got a vat with a screen underneath the vat. And so the build plate goes down. You have a dish that holds a plastic film. There's proper names for all this. I'm simplifying. You pour the resin into this vat, and the build plate comes down into the vat and just barely touches the screen, and then the film and the screen underneath turns on and hardens the resin in the pattern, and then it lifts up a bit, shakes a bit, puts it back down, and does the next layer. And it just keeps doing that.
Wow.
That's really cool.
And I seem to have lost my 3D printed resin skull I did. Anyways, it's a little one. I have a very, very small one, but there are a ton of 3D makers out there who are now doing resin. I have a longer orange 10, but Elgo just released a Mars and a Saturn, and I think the next one's going to be a Jupiter. And the Mars is a big printer.
Wow.
For resin. And it ain't big like my FDM printers, which are filament based.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that people have been doing is a resin print what they want to die, like when they're making tabletop RPG dice. They resin print the die, and then they make a silicone mold using that die as their mold factor, and then they pour their resin into the die, the mold they just made, so they can do layering and put other things in it as they're making it.
Oh, that's interesting. That's actually kind of one of my next steps in resin is making my own molds. So there's a whole community in the resin community where people will buy things at Goodwill and then will try to make silicone molds of those things so they can make resin. So they can kind of experiment with those designs. But I would imagine that 3D printing probably allows you a lot more freedom because you're probably designing more than having to work off of what's already been created.
This is resin.
Oh, is that like a little like, is that like a robot? Owl. Sorry, we're on a phone.
Hang on. Yeah, I know you're on a phone screen. I apologize. Let me go full screen here. Let me go get my Frankenender cam. Pink.
That's awesome.
That's so cute. Aww.
So we have a friend in the community whose name is Chris Warkaki, the Angry Warkaki. And we have another friend who Warkakis everything. And this is the Bat Warkaki. That is Chris Warkaki's face as Batman.
That's awesome.
That's adorable.
And that's resin printer. And this is hollow. Completely hollow. Now you can't pour resin into the resin, but there's a lot of different things you can do. Let me go back to this view. And that's actually only that's my third successful print. My fourth attempted print, because my third print made a huge mess and I boxed everything up and left it alone for 6 months. The problem with resin printing, you're doing the jewelry, so you're playing with some of the same resins. It's toxic, the fumes can be bad for you, so on and so forth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was surprised when everything happened with the pandemic. I was like, oh, I already have so many of the things we need. I have a ton of rubbing alcohol and a ton of masks, and then I went and bought like a real mask for myself to wear. Yep. And so we were pretty stocked up on a lot of stuff already.
Nobody had hand sanitizer or rubbing alcohol, and we had it.
Yeah, so. We had everything we needed, which was kind of funny. But it did stop my resin production.
This is a full case of 99% alcohol.
Oh.
Yeah,
I bought it just before the pandemic hit, not knowing.
That's awesome. That stuff is good. I used to use that for a lot of things.
And that's what I use to rinse off because when you do a resin print, it's not fully cured. So what you do is you take it out of the vat, you pull it off the build surface using gloves or a pry bar or whatever, but you have to keep your hands covered. You then rinse it in, you can use an ultrasonic cleaner. There's lots of different ways. What most people do is they just dip it over and over and over in 99% IPA. Rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and then you either put it out in the sun if you live someplace that's you don't have to worry about things landing on it or your sun's actually out. Washington State, it's a little iffy, but you're in Sacramento now, so that's not an issue. Or one of these, and this, excuse me while I look away, is a very bright 450 nanometer UV light.
Oh, so are you using UV resin?
Yes, UV based resins.
Okay. All right. I usually use epoxy, but I have a friend who is experimenting with the UV.
Yep,
so
that's how the resin printers work. Is that bottom screen is a UV light, so it hardens just a line.
Resin, do you not mix it? Is it come pre-mixed, or are there types that you mix?
I have art resin as well, and that's a two-part epoxy based resin. These are strictly 450 nanometer curing. There's actually Chris Travis brings it up, which is great. I was just about to mention him. There is a maker in the community, another really good guy, Uncle Jesse. He is big in the resin printing scene right now. He does mainly cosplay. And he's actually got a resin printer that he can print full-size helmets on.
Does he cosplay as Uncle Jesse? That's fantastic. I love it. We were watching Love on the Spectrum the other night, and there was a guy who cosplayed Skipper. And I was like, I didn't realize that those old shows would be such an attractive thing for people to cosplay. But I guess that's kind of cool. Like Uncle Jesse is cosplay costume.
I apologize. Thank you for correcting me, Dr. Jekyll. I was wrong. It is not 450 nanometer. It is 405 nanometer. And it does matter. The wavelength does matter. There are some of the earlier resin printers where they couldn't make up their mind. And if you're doing dental, that's a different wavelength as well. And that's actually why I'm getting into resin printing, is so I can print my own dentures.
Oh, that makes sense.
Actually, sci-fi fantasy conventions, the fang makers, the teeth that they make you, that's resin.
Yeah.
Same thing. And some of the more modern ones, they actually use a UV resin. When you go to the dentist and get a filling, they now put that UV light in your mouth. That's because they're using a UV-based resin.
Wow. That, I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
So, and that longer orange only cost $160.
That's not bad.
If you decide you want to go that route, since you've already got all the supplies to work with resin, it's an
Yeah.
option. And again,
Yeah,
there's a huge community of people out there who'd be willing to help. If you're on Twitter, there's a lady who goes by Steph Sharp, or Sharp Steph. I always get her name mixed up. She does dice, and she does amazing dice, and she's in the Seattle area.
Oh, I'll have to
Nice.
check out her stuff. I have a friend who's really into doing D&D campaigns online right now, and I've thought about trying to make some dice. But the resin I use, sometimes if I don't mix it exactly right, it's a little too bendy for my taste. So I'd want something that cures a little bit more hard.
Fire Elemental.
Oh, that's cool.
And I printed that on this.
Awesome.
Awesome. That's really cool. I know I've been to some 3D maker spaces. Since I generally teach like math and STEM, that's cool. I love all the detailed work on that.
It's awesome.
Now,
Wow.
none of these are my design, of course. And then there's my favorite, one of my favorites, but I love the pumpkin, don't get me wrong. But what I love about it is my wife painted it. She's a painter.
Oh, that's rad.
And it is just a container. And this is actually done doing a filament change. So that is actually 3 different colors of filament.
Wow.
And that's just a standard FDM printer, which is what most of us work with. Dan, Jekyll. If you're really into seeing printed models, 3D printing and painting, who was here earlier, Jerry, amazing work. Twitter's where most of the makers are who do 3D printing live right now.
Where?
Twitter.
Oh, okay.
We also have a new site that we've started, which I highly encourage you to get into. It is the makerguide.club. Devin has actually been helping work on it. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in chat for everybody else as well. What it is basically a guide where you can fill out a bio, you get you onto the site, and then you can submit when you're doing events, be they YouTube videos, a YouTube live stream, you're actually going to a physical event. And it's a way for us to schedule so we don't completely step on each other, but also to get you out there.
Yeah.
I'll have to
Yes,
check it out.
Jerry is a god in the 3D print and paint world. Yeah, we have there are a lot of people in this scene who they just do some amazing work. As I said, I cannot be any happier with this community. There are some bad ones, don't get me wrong.
That's awesome. Yeah,
And she can confirm I am not really a people person.
What was that?
And you can confirm I'm not really a people person.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I'm getting hungry, so I think we're gonna
We
call
are at
it.
almost 9, and yep, we've been live for an hour and 14, so we actually made it our hour and 15 over. It has been great having both of you. For the roughly 10 or more people who are still hanging out with us, please check out the description of the video. You will find their Etsy shop, which is how Dan found it, so he could order his own bottle. There's also a link to their YouTube channel, and later I will add the link to the band.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. We really were looking forward to this, and it was so much.
It was awesome.
And for those also next week, I am expecting to have a friend of my wife who's also part of her dog family, and she's going to come on and show some of the felting and other things, but her quilts. This lady makes quilts that look like oil paintings.
That's awesome.
Oh, and yes, Kit says you have a feline overlord. That means you have automatic membership to the maker community.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, we've got a few of them between.
Oh yeah, I have the one, and he has the two. Izzy, she's pretty mellow. She doesn't really care what happens to her. She's happy.
And Dan says he is very looking forward to his sauce. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to call it for tonight. Everybody out there, keep making things. Try to keep sane. And if not, well, we'll see you next Wednesday.